everyone, it's Leandra. Today I'm going to be doing the unpopular opinions book tag. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this tag has been around for such a long time. In fact, it is probably the oldest tag that I've seen on BookTube, and I've been wanting to do this tag for a really long time, but I just never got around to doing it. But you guys voted for me doing this tag on my Twitter account, so I'm super happy about that, and yeah, I can't wait to answer these controversial questions. I'm also going to be putting a disclaimer on this video. I know that this has been said like a bajillion times. These are all my opinions. Some of these books might be very beloved books that I just personally don't like, and I'll be talking about those, but also I will be talking about books that I really like that maybe aren't as well liked by others. It is totally fine for everyone to have their own opinion. If you like the books that I dislike, that's fine. If you hate the books that I love, that's fine too. We're such a diverse community, and life would honestly be super boring if everyone just had the same opinion about everything. I also have a second disclaimer, which is that I will probably be giving multiple answers to a question just because I had such difficulty choosing like one specific book or one specific series to talk about, and I just wanted to get like all of my opinions out there so that nothing would be left unsaid. Without further ado, here are the questions. So question number one, a popular book or series that you didn't like. I actually have 3 books for this answer, and my first answer would be The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. I didn't like this book when I was reading it. I think a large part of why I don't like it is because I read it as an audiobook, and I'm just not a huge fan of audiobooks, so I think that kind of ruined the experience for me. There were some parts of the book where the storyline was just dragging on a bit long, which honestly wouldn't have bothered me so much if I was actually reading the book by myself. But because the audiobook takes like double as long to actually get through the content, I was like really restless, I got really bored, and I just couldn't give a shit about the characters. So unfortunately, I ended up not liking The Darkest Minds so much, but I might be giving it another try sometime in the future. My second book for this is, unfortunately, I know this is a very beloved book, especially on BookTube, but it is the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I honestly tried so hard to enjoy this book. I think I read about half of it before I DNF'd it. I don't know whether it was the writing style or just sort of like the story that just didn't grip me as much, but I honestly just didn't like it as much as I had hoped. I actually read the book a while ago, so the reasons why I DNF'd it and didn't like it so much aren't as fresh in my mind, but I just remembered not really caring about the story so much. I thought the writing style was a bit sort of sluggish, but again, I think this is another book that I might be giving a second go sometime in the future. We'll see. And my final book for this question is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I didn't like this book very much. I thought the concept of this book was very interesting. I just didn't give a shit. I think that the character was very strange. Montag, I think his name was. It didn't translate this awesome concept of, you know, banning books and stuff very well. It was sort of not that interesting. The character, the main character, he was just so bland and boring, and I never felt this spark from him even when he was, so to speak, like joining the rebellion. Unfortunately, I didn't like this book. I read the whole thing though, which is really great, but I know a lot of people like Fahrenheit 451, and I definitely applaud the backstory, you know, the message that the book carries. I just didn't like the story as like a piece of entertainment, if that makes sense. So the second question is a popular book or series that everyone else seems to hate but you love. If you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you will know that I absolutely love the House of Night series by PC and Kristen Cast. I think a great deal of hatred goes towards these series is because the writing style maybe isn't as sophisticated as other YA books. I know that some people don't like the main character, which I do understand, although I do feel like there is a lot of character development that is kind of not really appreciated. People just also don't like that it's a very long series. It's 12 books. I personally, because I just love this world so much, I love the concept of the vampires in the House of Night series. I love a lot of the supporting characters. I'm not a huge fan of Zoe as the main character, at least not in the first couple books, but I do love all of her friends, and I think that the series carries a lot of dark themes, which I really love seeing in YA. I might do a more in-depth review for these books sometime in the future to sort of give you guys reasons why I really like this series, but I know that it is not a well-liked series, which I'm totally fine with. I am just gonna love it for the rest of my life. I have one more answer for this question, which is Matched by Ali Condi. I know a lot of people love the first book, then didn't like the second book, and then didn't like the third book. I love the first book. I think the second book is okay. I think the second book touches up on a lot of, you know, important topics, and I think that there's a lot of character development in the second book. I understand why people don't think it's as interesting, but I think that the third book really does make up for it, and it really has such a gripping storyline. I actually really want to reread this book sometime in the future. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed the series. I don't get the hate so much, especially with book 3. I understand why people might not like the second book so much, but as an overall series, I think it's totally a solid book series, and I do really like it. Then the third question, which is a love triangle where the character did not end up with the character that you wanted them to end up with. Now, I'm going to be talking about the Delirium series by Lauren Oliver. If you haven't read the second or third book in the series and you don't want to get spoiled, just quickly mute the video until I lower this book again. But basically, in the second book, Lena meets this guy called Julian, and I absolutely shipped Lena with Julian like so much. I thought they were so cute together. I liked him a lot more than Alex. In the third book, Alex is basically a huge asshole to Lena, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And I think that there is just this connection between Lena and Julian that there wasn't between Alex and Lena. It's not really mentioned who she actually ends up with in the end of Requiem. I think it's assumed that her feelings towards Alex are a bit bigger, so I think that she ended up with Alex, but I really didn't want her to end up with Julian, and I was a bit disappointed about that. Question number 4 is a popular book genre that you hardly reach for, and I think for me this is going to have to be those heavy or epic fantasy books like Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones. I am absolutely intimidated of like big fat books, especially if it's a fantasy series and you have to basically learn so many characters' names and you have to understand the concept of the world and the sort of science and physics and whatever. Yeah, I just don't really reach for epic fantasy so much. I think it's quite scary, but I hope that maybe that will change sometime in the future. Number 5 is a popular or beloved character that you didn't like. I thought a lot about this question, and to be really honest, I actually don't have an answer for that one. I think that a lot of the characters that I don't like, there are good reasons why I don't like them, and I think that a lot of people agree with me. So yeah, I don't actually have an answer for this one. Number 6 is a popular author that you just can't seem to get into. I can't think of any authors off the top of my head where I've tried reading their works like multiple times and just haven't found myself enjoying it. There isn't like a specific author where I know that I've read multiple books and I just don't like their writing style so much or don't like their writing. So I also don't really have an answer for this one. Question number 7 is a popular book trope that you are sick of seeing. So for example, the Lost Princess or love triangles. I think for me, the trope that at the moment I'm kind of sick of seeing is this like typical situation where the main character finds out that they have these superpowers, doesn't know how to deal with them, and then eventually, maybe later on in the book or maybe in the second book, they realize that there's this whole like secret society where people have been hiding and who have like similar powers to her. I don't know. I don't know about what it is about the trope. I don't really like it so much. I think it's overused. And question number 8, a popular book series or book that you have no interest in reading. I actually don't have an answer for this one either. I think that I'm very open to reading almost everything. I think maybe like one of the only things that I wouldn't read is like super gory horror kind of things. I don't know. I feel like if something is popular, I will most likely just give it a shot, just because I want to see what the fuss is about. I'm one of those people who like, you know, I need to know what's going on. I want to know what people are talking about. And so I don't think that there isn't like a specific book that I know is popular that I wouldn't read. I don't know. And the final question, question number 9, which is the saying always goes, the book is better than the movie, but which movie do you actually prefer over the book or book series? And I have my obvious answer that I'm sure a lot of people give is Catching Fire by Susanna Collins. I think that this book was just adapted so well in film. I think this is probably the best book to movie adaptation that I have seen in my entire like lifespan, which I know isn't like super long, but I have 3 more answers for this. And the first one is actually a movie that came out very recently, which is Crazy Rich Asians, which is adapted from Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I have a review up on my channel. It was actually my most recent video where I compared the book and the movie. I think that the book has a lot of flaws. I think that the world building and the plot are very interesting, but I think that the book just kind of falls short in plot development and character development, and I think that the movie really makes up for that. My third answer for this question is going to have to be The Vampire Diaries by L.J. Smith. I read, I think, the first 4 books in this series, and by God, like, this series has absolutely nothing on this TV show. The TV show adapted it into this amazing, crazy, like, fantasy, supernatural, kind of horror-esque TV show, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. The book is okay. I think the book just lacks in a lot of areas. I read these books a really long time ago, so I don't really remember that much, but I just remember not liking the book so much, and I think the TV series is just a lot better. And finally, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I can only really mention this first book because I haven't actually read The Two Towers or The Return of the King in book form yet, but I read The Fellowship of the Ring and I didn't like it as much as the movie. There is too much description. It's very hard to keep up and sort of not fall asleep when you're reading the book. The book is an amazing masterpiece. There is a lot of well thought out plot and characters. I just personally couldn't get into it just because it was so heavy ridden with descriptions, and I feel like the movie brings forth the important parts of both the characters and also the plot and a lot of action, and just brings us an even more masterpiece, if that makes sense. Okay, so that was the Unpopular Opinions book tag. So I'm gonna actually go tag some people now. First of all, I tag Emmy Rose from Emmy Rose Reads. I tag Nahid from Books with Nahid. And last but not least, I'm tagging Holly from As Read by Holly. So yeah, you guys go do the tag. I hope that you guys are going to enjoy answering these questions as much as I have. And obviously, if you guys want to do the tag, haven't been tagged yet, I officially tag you all to do this video, whoever wants to tag themselves. It was really fun thinking of answers for these questions. I love a great controversy, so it was really fun. I was a bit scared, you know, like to mention the books that I didn't like that everyone likes, but I think it's great that people are being very honest about their opinions and are being very open about it and very raw, and I think that's fabulous. So spread this tag around. I never want it to die out. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I bring videos out every Wednesday. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is Mrs. Ozera. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys soon.